Keep on riding with us as we continue to broadcast the balance and defend the discourse from the Hip Hop Weekly studios. Welcome back to Civic Cipher. I'm your host, Ramses Ja.
This is cute, y'all, but wow, man.
Yeah, we here.
Wow, man.
Yeah, man, we here. But stick around, because we are going to be talking about, in the interest of trying to make sense of, I still believe that human beings are generally decent, if not given to fear, and they can be convinced to do bad things. We're going to explore how the two parties in this country make the country better. Both parties do. We're going to try to have that conversation.
Good luck.
I mean, it's a tough time to do it, but we're going to attempt to do so. So please stick around for that and much more. But right now, we're going to discuss BABA, Becoming a Better Ally BABA. And today's BABA is sponsored by Friends of the Movement. You can sign up for the free voter wallet from FOTMglobal.com to support Black businesses and allied businesses, as well as make an impact with your spending. Again, that's FOTMglobal.com. I'm going to share a letter that we received, just kind of trying to encourage us. This is from a listener. His name is Pat. And I thought I was moved by it. And, we need to be better allies now more than ever. So it says, Brother Ramses and Brother Q, I listened to your November 9th show this morning on my way to work, and it broke my heart. I'm filled with sadness for our efforts to make the election outcome be different. And certainly I have concern for what these next 4 years will bring. But this year, my family and I threw it all in for Kamala, as well as an important representative for the good in Virginia, Missy Carter Smasel, I believe, for my second district. We gave personally significant money, many days walking neighborhoods with our boys, knocking doors and working the polls. And maybe this outcome, like watching our brother George Floyd having his life squeezed out of him on live stream, will serve as an opportunity for awakening. We need to be aware, awake, and so many of my white brothers and sisters woke for a bit after the George Floyd murder, only for so many people to be caught in the BS culture, wars, and fear and propaganda to eventually go back to our comfy living rooms and wonder if isolationism is the right way to go right now. And you two beautiful, gifted, committed, and in action brothers have even less to regret than I do. Your show has grown and grown and grown. Hearing Attorney General Holder and Secretary Rice back-to-back daily shows followed by Kamala's brother-in-law and sister, powerful. You guys are crushing it. You guys are making a profound difference. In my honest opinion, the progress you and I are out to see everywhere is continuing to sow seeds and bear fruit at the same time. Nothing but love and respect, Pat. We appreciate you, Pat. Thank you for the letter. We do need that love and that vote of confidence these days. And we're going to try to keep you encouraged as well. So, onward. All right. So I came across a question that I thought was worth pondering. Republicans think that they must save America from liberalism and its policies. So what is it that they think that they're saving America from? Now, I know. I'm doing my best to try to approach this. For a person like me, it's really easy to laugh because it's like, I know that their fears are unfounded. I know that. But I'm going to try to view it as though their fears are valid. And if their fears are valid, then perhaps I can speak to them. And if I can speak to them, or I can find a way to speak to those fears, then maybe I can empower our listeners to maybe have similar conversations. This country changes at the dinner table. That's where it starts. If anybody's going to get pulled one way or the other, it's going to be over dinner. It's going to be in the living room. It's going to be around the water cooler at work. It's going to be in places like that. There's a quote that Bill Clinton made a long time ago that is, I'm like rolling it around in my head. He says, it says, the left is at its best the left at its best tears down walls that shouldn't have been there. And the right at its best stops the left from tearing down walls that should be there. And if I boil my understanding of the two-party system in this country down to its essence, I think that that is a masterful way of explaining what each party stands for and what they're trying to do. There are people who, again, are kind of like me. Everybody is inherently kind. Everybody deserves a shot. Everyone deserves equitable access to X, Y, and Z. And we need to find the capacity to bring all these things into manifestation. And then on the right, they ask how. They ask why. They try to compare apples to apples, and oftentimes we're not dealing with apples and more apples. And there's a more realistic look, less optimistic look at things when folks on the right have a critical examination of what folks on the left want to do. And so again, Bill Clinton's statement about, and I think it's important to emphasize the left at its best tears down walls that shouldn't be there, and the right at its best keeps the left from tearing down walls that should remain. That at its best part is really what we're speaking to, because I think that a lot of the stories that you've shared on the show, Q, about growing up in Michigan with your mom, having friends that voted differently from her, but they were friends. I think the ideas in those stories and the people represent the left at its best, the right at its best. What I've also found is that it's easier for cancerous, toxic, fear-based facets, forms of thought, schools of thought, to exist under the right than it is under the left. That's not to say that it doesn't exist under the left too, but it's easier for those things to exist and to breed under the right, because the right it's literally conservative. You know, they're slower to move, slower to accommodate and account for, less likely to share, makes decisions more based around fear than what is morally just. It's more based around what's possible, not what is ideal. You know, what can we do, not what should we do, or what can we avoid doing. And so I think that that's why in recent years we've seen more of that. But we've done a good job, I think, so far on this show to try to delineate, let's call them the MAGA extremists, from, you know, your typical conservative folks who cannot conceive of voting for a liberal candidate, and so they're stuck with casting a vote alongside the MAGA people, the Klans people, the people that we talked about in the first half of the show that increase in hate speech toward women. They've historically been able to excuse, well, you know, this is the party that kind of shields all of the racist people, but I'm not racist. They just, you know, I'm a fiscal conservative. But they can excuse the fact that they're voting alongside those other folks. And I think this is why we have to go to such great lengths to delineate the decent folks who are Republican and conservative in their feelings from the rest, because they have to excuse so much in order to remain in lockstep, or to remain under that same umbrella, right? So again, this is something that I need to learn about, and I know that you have more to offer this conversation than I do, because you're the one that actually grew up with seeing that, you know, in Michigan.
I honestly think that I might be the worst possible person to try to gain some understanding from in a conversation like this one. Because even in good faith, right, talking about both sides at their best, the ideas in and of themselves that one party is trying to take down fences while the other wants to build them, even if that's all the information that we have, it's the difference between inclusivity and exclusivity, and the arguments that could be made for the necessity of both. We can't give all of our food away because we won't eat. We can't give all of our jobs away because we won't eat. But